Phishing emails are probably one of the hardest to avoid but biggest security risks of any company. And I wanted to go over one that we recently received. Now, the key to phishing emails is generally they can appear to come from a legitimate email address. This is because once one person has been the victim of a phishing attack, very often their email address is used as the return address. Now, how can we identify and avoid the dangers of a phishing attack? So here we have the email, and the first thing we can do is anything asking you to review a document or so on. The first thing you want to do is right click and copy the link address before reviewing the document. The first thing we're going to see here is the link is not going to DocuSign. The link is sending you out to Canva. Now, it is possible that potentially someone sending you something legitimate, this would never come from DocuSign this way. But maybe, okay, that isn't the only thing that could be wrong, right? Okay, so I'm gonna follow this link into a incognito window. Which, if you are gonna follow a suspicious link, make sure you follow it into an incognito window so it doesn't bring in any of your stored passwords and doesn't share with the suspicious link the information that is present on all your other open tabs. Tabs all opened on the same screen. There is a mechanism through which information can be shared between them. So keep that in mind. All right, so what have we got here? We've got an official invitation, RFP proposal document. Now, if you're a business person, you may get a lot of links from a lot of people, and a lot of things are named very poorly. And so something like this may not immediately tell you it's not what you want, but it should. The easiest thing to do is if the email appears to have come from a legitimate person that you know, don't click the link. Call the person and ask them, did you send this over? Am I supposed to be doing something? Well, let's say you want to be a detective. I'm going to, once again, it wants me to click on this link. So I'm going to right click this. And once again, I'm going to copy link address. And let's see where this is sending us off to. This is sending us off to a pretty ludicrous link address, right? So first of all, we have this ludicrous domain, EYMBNGOKH.ES. Obviously, no real company has a domain like that. The reason why the domain is so crazy is because they're going to constantly drop this domain as it shows up as malware and switch it out for other domains. Now, I wouldn't recommend clicking these links on your computer right off the bat. You should just write this off as something you don't want to click. You should call the person the email came from and find out if there was any legitimate use for this business. But let's see what the link wants you to do. Click on any 6 images to prove you're a human. Now, this is because this is a fake CAPTCHA. Have you ever seen a CAPTCHA that asks you to click on 6 random images? What's the purpose of that? The whole point of this is nothing. Let's prove it. I'm going to click 8 images. Oh, it can tell the number of images I'm clicking. Okay, so it's assumed I'm a person. Okay, now you see what it wants me to do here is it wants me to log in to Google. Now, why would I do this? I'm obviously not on a Google page. If you see up here, look at the header bar in your web browser. This is not a Google page. What this is doing here is trying to phish for an email address. Now, it's smart enough to use Google's hooks to identify if there is a real email address attached here. This is actually pretty clever of them because what the goal is to get you to enter in an email address and then a password. It's passing it all through its servers, this whole authentication process, and it's going to steal your password. Let's try and guess a real email address out there in the world. There we go. Okay. So it's confirmed. It's probably using Gmail API to confirm that accounts are real, so that it doesn't have to waste its time stealing non-real information. But at this point, when we're entering the password, the whole point is it's stealing the password that we're entering. I'm actually just going to type stealing password 3 times. This is very clever. They've tied it to the Gmail API so that you're going to constantly get kickbacks. They're going to know when you enter the correct password. But since they're passing it all through their servers first, they're going to be able to steal that password once you enter it. So you see how these things are really the best way to protect yourself from them, because a firewall, an antivirus, nothing is going to protect you from basically being tricked into giving someone else your email username and password. And I know that this has become very confusing lately, because very often, because of how Google and Facebook now want to be the authorization protocol for everything, meaning maybe you're logging into some clothing store and you're logging in with your Gmail. So you are very used to, even though you're logging into a clothing store, it asking you to do it with your Gmail account. And if your Gmail account isn't already logged in on that computer, you might have to log into your Gmail account to link it and create this account, which adds this whole layer of confusion. Gmail and Facebook both do this. They basically want their authorization to be the key you use to access all other web pages. It gives them an immense amount of data about you, and it's highly beneficial to them, but it leads to problems like this, because in the past, if you were given a DocuSign or something like that, and it popped up and it asked you your Gmail username and password, you would have said to yourself, well, why would I have a Gmail username and password with this DocuSign document to be able to see the DocuSign document? You would say, why would I do that? But we become so accustomed to it. But the key factor here is you have to remember to look at the URL at the top, and really understand what's going on as you're clicking on links. And when you don't know why you're clicking on something, you just think it might be important, don't click on it. Don't go to it. Call the person who sent it to you and ask them, did you send this to me? And they'll be like, yes, it's a document for you to enter information for your payment plan or something like that. But also, if you pay attention to the top URLs, you'll also realize things are not as they should be. First of all, let's look and see if the URL it sends us to is even secure. I didn't even think to check that. It is a secure URL, which means they're paying for an SSL certificate. Something that's happening in the background here, I had Grok 4 run analysis of it. And from Grok's perspective, the page gives static content about the Milky Way. Here's something else you can notice. Okay, so when I go to help and privacy and stuff, you'll see that it's going to take me to a Google page. But actually, if I go to create account, I don't think it'll take me anywhere. When I hover over learn more, it takes me to this ludicrous domain name we talked about before, and forgot email takes me through there as well. So it was an interesting little perspective. Basically, this site is acting as a throughput that would steal your email account and password. probably going on to steal more of your information. If you mistakenly did enter your email account and password into that Gmail browser, the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously change your password to your Gmail. But the second thing you need to do is if you've used that email account and password on any other accounts, you need to think about them and go change your passwords immediately. Because the first thing the hackers do once they have passwords is they start browsing to every account they can find. The answer, as Mad Eye Moody said it best.
You need preparing, you need arming, but most of all, you need to practice constant, never-ceasing vigilance.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more information for your dental practice.